and start it with mixy. Trying hot, don't wait for it to be cold. A colder and get it. So get it hot, share with family, friends, and colleagues in the office as well while you're enjoying watching us on the breakfast show on GTV. Now, before we get to Multi T on the headlines, let's see what the various newspapers has for us this morning. So the Ghanaian Times newspaper is saying, the big one, government unveils cocoa sector reforms, a modest debt clearance bag of cocoa drops to 2,587 Ghana cedis. That's Kasalato forcing over there. And Ghana Health Service DG rallies Saboba to intensify meningitis prevention, engages traditional leaders, health workers as well. Yeah, so that is it over there. I think so. This and some other stories you can find on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. The Daily Graphic newspaper says Cabinet directs Cocoa Board to pay farmers. Yeah, a ministry bars teeth at lawlessness in schools. You can find a story on page 13 over there. And brutal Galamsey attack forest guard battles for livelihoods. And we expect more visa waivers this year. That's the Foreign Affairs Minister Blakwa saying that over there. You can find a story on page 15 of the Daily Graphic newspaper this morning. Yes, all right. Next paper. The Daily Guide says cocoa prices get haircut. 2,587 per bag. Minority called for Cocoa Board bailouts. Yes, so the minority had a press conference yesterday. Yeah. And suspend VAT at Dasguta to government over there. And IGP promote 12,802 officers. Yeah, and High Court grants injunction in Wassa Fiase case, and Supreme Court rejects announced judgment reversal. So all this you can find in the Daily Guide newspaper this morning. The Chronicles is also saying Mahama reduces cocoa price to address market variation. You can find a story on page 2 and 3 over there. And litigation over Chado lands announced wins big at Supreme Court. And minority rejects new cocoa price. I told you they had a press conference yesterday. So this and some other stories you can find in the Chronicle. The Observer Times says cocoa sector reset. New cocoa price set as debt restructuring and forensic audits begin. Yeah, and Haruna Idrisu and Mohammed Tuparu survived road crash on Bogatanga Tumu Road. Yeah, that's a sad one, but I think they've survived the accident. And cocoa price, minority slums government over unprecedented cocoa price cuts. Yeah, so these are some other stories you can find in the Observer Times this morning. I think the cocoa sector is trending in the various newspapers this morning. Yeah. Yes, I think this is some other news stories when you purchase most of the various newspapers this morning. You're going to find interesting and, stories making headlines this morning. Multi T is already seated with the ladies this morning to delve deeply into the various news stories making headlines this morning. Over to you, Multi T.
What you gonna do about this? Spin test road to Rafi Jam. Tell me how we gonna work it out.
I am Malti Tisaida Sadiq, and this is live on GTV Ghana, everyone social media, on DSTV channel 278 globally. You can watch us there. We're on YouTube as well at Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. This morning, the ladies I'm expecting, and the one who is present here is Hajia Hamdat Ibrahim. She's former chairperson for CPP. Hajia Dasba, welcome back to the table. And we're expecting Rosemond Obeng, who will be speaking for the MPP. She's a presidential staffer for the NDC. Thank you, Hajia, for the correction. Ellen Amadeko is special aid to Dr. Baumia, and she'll be speaking for the MPP. So we're expecting Rosemond for the NDC and Ellen Amadeko for the MPP. But Hajia, lots has been happening, and we'll get to the cocoa in a bit. So that's what we'll be beginning with, because that's what is big on our table. What's on your mind? What's piqued your interest this entire week?
Entire week? It needs 2 hours. So let me just say a very good morning to our cherished viewers out there, to you and your crew. And also a big shout out for my chairman and leader, Wing Commander Sobodo Retired, and his able General Secretary, Kwame Nkrumah Boots, your Esquire, and the entire team from constituency, region, to the national, and especially the Council of Elders of the party. You say what is on my mind in this
morning?
If you say this morning, maybe from last night. Okay. Because yesterday we buried one of our leading members, an historian who really knows the ideology of the party. That's the Convention People's Party. He will never compromise on anything that you say that you want to alter the ideals of Kwame Nkrumah. That's Mr. Ekodankan. We were there yesterday. So during the funeral, I just looked on my phone and I saw this unfortunate incident that happened to my brother and a colleague of his, that's Honorable Arun Idrisu. Right. And our hearts goes to the entire nation, because it was something that I was just imagining certain things. I said, wow. I looked at the car. I even thought it got bent. But somebody was telling me is the mud around there. That brings us to the way we have bad roads in this country. The roads are terrible. I'm not saying that maybe if they are asphalted, there will not be any casualties. But I think what has been yesterday, and even on all our roads, it's something that as a nation we have to prioritize certain development agenda of this country. Because if you look, if I hear Bolga Tumu Road, I ask myself, is there any road called Bolga Tumu Road? Because you come from Bolga, Tumu, you come to Navrongo, there are certain places you reach before Bolga. But I think, I don't know, maybe they were going from Bolga to Tumu. To commission, was it to
a college of education?
College of education and what have you. I think we have to rethink the way we do things in this country, because a whole minister of education, a minister for deputy minister for communication. Can you imagine? We've not finished morning. Yeah. That's our 8. And then this will happen. We pray for God guidance for all of us, not just the ministers. I think from judiciary, legislature, the seat of government, those of us in opposition, all of us. This is something that, in fact, yesterday I was imagining. I said, hey, I called Awalu, one of his guys. Right. Yeah, I called him. The way he responded, said, oh, we are okay. And then he cut the line. I got scared until I called Kadri, my brother, and 1 or 2 people to find out whether it's true that they're in stable condition. If things like that happen, people will be thinking, oh, they are okay. No, you don't know. I remember when I lost my father-in-law in Yendi, and there was a terrible accident involving my own father. No, we don't say uncle, we say father. Your brother's, that's the Dagwambana Dasba, Alhaji Abdul Kadri, and then the then Yoruba chief of Kumasi, and my own cousin, Sister Mariam Kadri, if you recall that accident. I was in Yendi. Then they kept on saying, oh, everything is okay. Everything is okay. Everything is okay. I said, where are they? They said they're in the hospital. Went to the hospital, there was nobody there. Apparently, they went and kept them in the hotel for them, because of the traffic. Let me put human traffic that were rushing there. But I was asking, they said there's a woman among. Where is the woman? Oh, she's okay. She's only for us to realize that my sister, Ricardo, may your soul continue to rest in peace. So if certain things like that happen, it's difficult, especially if you know the person, if the person is your relation. Not just relation, because when they are serving Ghana, they are a family to the whole of Ghana, not just their party.
Right.
So I wish Aruna Idrisu and Aruna Mohammed Sakparu, okay. I always say Sakparu, and the rest of the team a speedy recovery. And all those who have suffered in one or two ways through accident, not just only ministers or them, we wish all of them a speedy recovery. And then we are calling on the government to look at, especially the Tumu Road has been like that for so many years.
Absolutely.
That is what is connecting the Upper East and Upper West. So maybe if the government can look at that too, if it will be factored into the big push, I think those of us from there will be very, very happy. So that's why, because in fact, we started on a very sad note, because yesterday was terrible.
Right.
And I was just imagining, these pastors who come to say that 8 people will die, 10 people will die,
and the year will begin with deaths.
What is this? So even in your makeup room, I was asking whether we don't have positive prophecies. So we wish them well.
Exactly, because the water crisis in Tamale, for one, is a big issue. So can they prophesize if, in the interim, the rains will fall?
Somebody sent me a video with my own people struggling with, Kufuor gallons.
Kufuor gallons.
And I said, Tamale water crisis since we were babies too.
Yeah.
And
decades.
I'm telling you, when we are on vacation, the time we're in primary school, my stepmother, she comes from Tamale. And then that time, Bayidi, Yaedi, they will take us to Tamale so that our father will make sure we visit all the family for us to know where we are coming from.
Right.
And they'll take us to Kumbungu, take us to Safulu. I remember in the Land Rover, I still recall it.
All these the childhood memories.
At times, if I'm talking, they will say, hey, when did that happen? I don't know, from age 3.
Wow.
I can still remember everything from age 3. So that's what God has given me.
Yeah.
The water crisis too. And then, when you sing borehole, you don't get water. Most of the places in the northern region, because we've done borehole business around that place before.
Right.
And it's terrible. I don't know what can be done. Because as for us around where I'm coming from, Kumbungu, Dalong, they don't have water crisis. They even supply most of the places. So I don't know.
And the plan is big. They say they'll pull the water from Bupe. But people are asking when. How long will that take? For Yindi, Bimbula, Tamale, and these environs. Because the city is growing.
A temporary situation, whilst we think about the long term. But I don't know why we couldn't think so many years. We couldn't resolve the Tamale.
As the population keeps growing, more than the Dalong.
You see, that is why we need a national development plan. I always say it, because knee-jerk reactions cannot solve our problems.
Right.
You see, if you plan well, where in this country that we have water problems, that we can put it in our plan, so that maybe in Tamale and its surrounding areas, this is the challenges they are facing. So maybe in the first year of this administration, or maybe by second year, they'll be able to supply how many liters of water to the Tamale mission. That is something that should be documented. And then you will know where you are starting, where you are going to end.
Right.
Even if you don't get the end, but at least there will be some progress. The Tamale water crisis, it's been there when I was in Eswamenta Primary School.
Right. So it's been long.
Yeah.
And thank you for adding to the clarion call. I'm sure the people of Tamale appreciate your call that something should be done about it. Decades-old water issues that the Tamale people are dealing with. As the population keeps growing, the Dalong water reserve is not enough. There's also the issue of the sand winning and the tipper tracks and blocking the water tributaries and all of that. It's quite a challenge. And the residents of Tamale hit the streets quite recently demanding for better action. We're going to dive right into the big headlines, and it's the cocoa industry. Yesterday, that crunch meeting by the Minister of Finance and the stakeholders in the cocoa value chain happened, and lots came out of that meeting. The reforms were given. Let's bring you some excerpts from that crunch meeting and what the Honorable Kaselato Forson said, and then we'll bring you what the minority has been saying about this as well.
Ghana's cocoa sector is in crisis, fueled by lack of funding and mismanagement. By 2022, Cocoa Board finances had deteriorated, defaulting and restructuring cocoa bills in the year 2023. For the first time in the history of the cocoa industry, in 2023, the annual syndicated loan suffered significant delays due to loss of confidence in the Ghanaian economy and the sector.
The first tranche was received on 22nd December 2023. 4 months after the commencement of the season. Cocoa Board projected an output of 800,000 tons and committed 786,672 tons in contracts in 2023 and 2024 crop season. However, actual production was 432,145 tons, a deviation of over 45% from the projected output. Variation in crop forecasts typically vary between 5 to 15%. Hence, a deviation of 45% was unprecedented and unacceptable. This resulted in a huge rollover contract of about 333,767 tons.
In an effort to restore the industry and ensure sustainability, government has announced new measures. Moving into the 2026-2027 cocoa season, an automatic adjustment cocoa pricing formula will be adopted. According to Finance Minister Dr. Ato Forson, Cocoa Board will once again return to the domestic bond market to raise domestic financing for the purchase of cocoa.
The new financing model will utilize domestic cocoa bonds to purchase cocoa and repay the cocoa proceeds within each crop year. The bonds will be used to raise a revolving fund for Cocoa Board to turn around at least once during the season. The model will also revive the indigenous license buying companies that have been completely thrown out of business as a result of the current financing model. State-owned produce buying company, PBC, will be revived to resume full operations and become the leading license buying company in the cocoa sector with immediate effect.
In line with many cocoa sector players' expectations, Cocoa Board will no longer be allowed to meddle in non-core activities, including cocoa road construction.
Cabinet has also directed that, with immediate effect, there should be a transfer of road liabilities worth 4.35 billion Ghana cedis to the Ministry of Roads and Highways and the Ministry of Finance. From 2014 to 2024, Cocoa Board awarded cocoa contracts of up to 26.5 billion Ghana cedis, with 21.5 billion Ghana cedis of contracts awarded between 2018 and 2021. Despite an agreement under the IMF program in 2023 to rationalize, Cabinet also noted that road construction accounts for a significant part of the financial difficulties that Cocoa Board is facing at the moment. The new cocoa bill that is going to Parliament will now prohibit Cocoa Board from set quasi-fiscal expenditures and other non-core expenditures going forward, and it will come with punishment if they ever do so. The world market price has dropped significantly from the average of 7,200 tons to 4,100 per ton, making Ghana's cocoa beans uncompetitive and creating liquidity challenges. To address this, the Producer Price Review Committee, PPRC, met this afternoon under my chairmanship to assess the challenges facing the sector and review the producer price for the remainder of the 2025-2026 crop year. In order to cushion the farmer, the PPRC has recommended that the farmer be paid 90% of the achieved gross FOB of $4,200 per ton to mitigate the adverse impact on the farmer as a result of the fall in the world market price. As a result of that, the PPRC thereby announces that effective today, Thursday, 12 February 2026, the new producer price for the remainder of the 2025-2026 crop season will now be 41,392 Ghana cedis per ton and 2,587 Ghana cedis per bag. This measure has become necessary to reflect the reality of the world market price of cocoa, ensure the injection of immediate liquidity for expedited payment of farmers, and guarantee the sustainability of our cocoa sector.
That's the Minister of Finance there talking about the reforms that Cocoa Board will be putting in place and what they are not allowed to do anymore and what they can do. Let's bring you what the minority has been saying, however, on this situation.
When you manage an economy with artificial adjustments, the real effect will be realized on cocoa farms, in transport fares, in electricity bills, in school fees. Now you are beginning to see the real impact of some of the things that we are talking about. Already when you go into the cocoa growing areas, I was in my areas just a few days ago. A lot of young people are already not going into cocoa because they say the older folk who went into it, they don't see a transformation in their life. It's left with the old, elderly, poor on the farms. When you do this, what is going to happen in subsequent years is that even those ones will not be going into the cocoa production. If they don't sell their cocoa farms to Galamsey operators, God knows what they will do. They will abandon their farms. Now, what it means also is that the productivity, the growth, the jobs, and the incomes that come from the cocoa sector, the foreign exchange that comes from the cocoa sector in subsequent years is all going to dwindle. And so we in the minority have a number of requests to government. All of this has come about because of the reset that Cocoa Board did. And that is why, respectfully, we ask the President to relieve the Cocoa Board CEO of his responsibilities at this point in time. Number two, we are asking the government that in previous times when cocoa prices fell and the government absorbed the shock and protected the cocoa farmer, the NDC government should absorb the cost of what they have done and protect the cocoa farmer and restore at least the 3,625 that they promised. This 2,800 or so that they are promising is totally unacceptable. Already we are receiving messages from cocoa farmers who say that if this is what is going to happen, they are going to demonstrate in a number of these. And if they do, we in this caucus, we will join them on the streets to do this demonstration.
That's the former Minister for Information, Works and Housing, leading the minority pack in Parliament there, speaking about the removal of the CEO of Cocoa Board as interim measures they believe will be able to salvage the situation on the Cocoa Board. They say they are receiving messages from farmers. Farmers are reeling in the shock of non-payment in the cocoa price issue. And, the Minister for Finance talked about the world prices, market prices dropping. Ghana's cocoa has become uncompetitive. Farmers are trying to smuggle or sell cocoa beans across our shores as well. He says that there will be review by the producer price committee and they'll be reviewing all of this. The PBCs are now also going to be positioned to be buyers of Ghana's cocoa, processing of Ghana's cocoa and the value addition as well. The minority calls all of this artificial adjustments. But that bill will be put in Parliament to also prevent Cocoa Board from quasi-fiscal, expenditures like cocoa roads and all of that. There will be punishments, according to the Finance Minister, if they do meddle in such things. And so the focus is to, focus on what Cocoa Board's mandate is supposed to be. These are the reforms that are coming out of that cabinet meeting that was held yesterday, 2 days ago, and yesterday the presser by the Minister of Finance led by the Office of the Government Communications at the Presidency. And let me introduce to you my other ladies who have joined the table now. Rosemond Obeng is presidential staffer and she speaks for the NDC. Rosemond, good morning. Welcome to the table.
Good morning.
Ellen Amadeko, as usual, makes a return. Special aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia speaks for the MPP. Ellen, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi. I'll begin with you, Rosemond. We usually say that you have more to say because all of this borders on what you're doing, and you're the one that Ghanaians will want to hear from more because you said you needed a mandate, and the mandate has been handed over to you. And a very critical commodity, they'll say there are the three, the oil, the cocoa, and our gold. And critically, the fact that if you say you're reviving Tema Oil Refinery, and so our oil should be doing well, our cocoa farmers are dying, and the sector seems on the brink of collapse.
All right, Maltiti, thank you so much. Good morning to our viewers and other listeners of GTV, the station of the nation. What happened in the cocoa sector is very sad to begin with, and I would say that I kept asking myself, how did we get here? How did we get here? Why did we get to the point where the sector was crumbling down? How did we get here? I think that fundamentally, one thing we did that I'm not too enthused about was the fact that we should have, opened up earlier on with regards to the rot in that sector.
Right.
Yeah, because communication is very key. And the people, like you rightly said, have given us a mandate. And so if you come and you meet a sector that has faced a lot of financial indiscipline, there's a need to, speak to the people, explain to the people, explain to the farmers who are great stakeholders in the whole cocoa sector. And so I'm very saddened by the fact that the communication was not too, frontal. We should have been very frontal and very blunt, in as much as we also have that dedication to go after the people who have, brought us, on our knees. Now, there are some questions I kept pondering about. I kept asking myself, Maltiti, I kept asking that, what happened, to the cocoa syndicated loan? If we are here now, what happened to that? And if we ask that question, then it means some people have questions to answer. Because that had always been our financial model. To see, so we take the loan from the foreign banks. We purchase the cocoa, sell it. Everybody gets their money. Everybody is at peace. So at what point were the people giving us a cocoa syndicated loan throwing us under the bus and telling us that we don't want to see your face again, we will not give you the loan again? Why did we get there? Because we were not keeping true to our words. We were not keeping true to the contract. We were not keeping true to the collaterals. Because if you go for a loan, you go for a cocoa syndicated loan, and you, in the agreement or in the collateral paper, say that you're going to provide perhaps 1 million metric tons of cocoa, and you end up giving about 600,000, and you can't speak to the 400,000,
right?
Which is in this case, a situation like that. They're definitely going to, write you off and say that no, we cannot continue like this before. And it is important to know that the cocoa syndicated loan, that financial model had been something we had used for over 32 years. So at what point it should be that bad for them to tell us we are not going to cooperate with you again? And the SWAL government were very dishonest with us, because at a point in time, the chief executive officer, Mr. Edu, came out and said, oh, now we want to be more proactive, and so we are going to use the bridge financing, and so we won't go to the foreign banks again we're not going to use the financial model of the cocoa syndicated loans again. We now want the bridge financing. So let's see, we can go to the central bank, go to some other local banks and all that. They were dishonest because the truth of the matter is that the foreign people were not going to give us money again because we defaulted. Right. So that is where the issue started. Because even if there was going to be a time that we needed to really look at the financial model, it was very, it was not, we went away from that financial model, not on good grounds. It was in bad faith because we had, defaulted. So that's what he told. And even that with the money they went for about 70, million USD from the central bank, they're still owing, the bank. They're still owing. And so the cocoa sector was made in a lot of financial indiscipline. Because you take money, you have some metric tons you are supposed to provide, you don't provide the tons, and you squander the money. What will happen?
And do you agree that it should it take a year and more for management of Cocoa Board to have realized? I mean, you admitted to the fact that communication is key.
Exactly.
And Ghanaians should have known. The farmers, I know that the CEO had gone to the farmers. We saw videos of him in the farms trying to engage them and all of that. But for the Ghanaian who is paying the taxes, who doesn't want to see the cocoa sector collapse, because this is an important part of our economy. At what point didn't the CEO and the management feel that they should come out and let Ghanaians know that this is what is happening? And you said for 32 years this module was working, but it is no longer working. And if there were solutions, at what point were those solutions going to take off so that it didn't get this bad, or for us to even get to this point?
Yes, so like I rightly said, and you rightly also admitted, the communication about the rot should have, come earlier. We should have, sung that song, earlier on, as soon as, we took.
So the minorities call for Dr. and the Abbey to go.
Before I even get to the minority,
justified?
They are not even a group of serious people. So I'll get to their issue, but. Now, what are we proposing? Because at the end of the day, we've inherited, liabilities. And so, as a government that cares about the people, we have a social contract with our farmers. We have a social contract with Ghanaians. Because with the overwhelming endorsement, they expect us to show leadership. And our president did that with the cabinet meeting he called for. We have done that with the press conference that was led by our finance minister.
Is it not coming too late? These are the questions.
No, you see,
the president didn't know all this while.
Of course, they received briefing, but we all agree that we had gotten to an escalation stage. And if you look at the things we have recommended in the things the finance minister outlined, there's one thing that is very key, that we are going to do a forensic, investigation. The Attorney General has been charged because what happened, I would say, is more criminal.
Okay,
you understand?
Right.
So it's like they run a criminal syndicate. And so to the group of people you mentioned, that is a minority. Crime wolf now. I can't even fathom. I can't even understand why they would do it, because they actually, created the whole situation and are now trying to shift it. But anyway, you know what they always try to do. This is not the first time. They have struggled so much. And I'm going to say this very bluntly. Since we came, we have been very, very careful, very, very cautious, not to be engaged in anything whatsoever as far as scandals are concerned. And their administration for the past 8 years was synonymous to scandals, disrespecting the Ghanaian people, all forms of discipline. And so they are trying so much, to draw us into the failure shadow they find themselves in. But we're not going to go there. And so where there's no cause for even a press conference, they decide to, engage in
this is not a cause for a press conference. No, the cocoa sector.
I'm not just taking the cocoa in isolation. I'm talking about how they've conducted themselves since we came into office. They try so hard.
Important government business.
So hard. And that is the reason why we are doing everything possible to even attack the gentleman, Mr. Randy Abbey, and attack the government. We are showing leadership. We are saying that we have inherited liabilities.
Okay.
In 2016, let me just briefly, wrap up.
Yes, I have to move to.
In 2016, you came into government. We had a positive, equity of about 1.8 billion, USD, and that I know you are very much aware. So how do you explain that we are now met in over 32 billion negative USD to pay for? So until they can answer that question, we will not pay attention to any press conference or anything. The Ghanaians have so much confidence in us.
Okay.
And they are expecting us to show leadership, and we have done that. And the measures we have taken now, I will come to it when you give me the
Yes, I'll come back to you.
How it's going to help the cocoa sector to sanitize.
I'll come back to you. And ladies, I hope you bear me out that I gave her more time, because rightfully they have to answer. She's representing government at the table. Ellen, what do you have to say about the sector crisis?
Good morning to our viewers, and I think this is the first time I'm coming back here after primaries.
Right.
So it's just right that I say thank you to all the NPP delegates who did vote for Dr. Bawumia. And as we've all heard, Dr. Bawumia have told all our people that this is time for us to come together. And today we are having the first of our Thanksgiving services. The Islamic Thanksgiving service at the National Mosque by 12 midday. Then Sunday, this coming Sunday, we would have the Christian interdenominational church service at the UPSA auditorium from 12 midday. So I would invite every MPP member and sympathizer who is in Accra this weekend to pass through any one of them, and let's thank God for what He's done for us.
Okay.
Cocoa affairs. Ghana has been living off cocoa for the past, I believe it's more than 100 years. Because my dad is 77. My dad was a beneficiary of the cocoa scholarship. Because his parents and his grandparents are all cocoa farmers. He comes from a cocoa growing area. And the family still have cocoa farms, huge. And so when my dad tells a story, he tells you how if it had not been for cocoa, he would not have had an education. And that means that if he didn't get an education, his children would definitely not be in the good space. So for somebody like me who comes from a cocoa growing area, I know what cocoa does for families. As we speak, there are some families in those areas that use the cocoa to take care of the vulnerable in their in the family. The older people, orphans. Every family has its issues, and for a lot of families, this has been their lifeline. So from November till now, it's been a very difficult period for a lot of families in the cocoa growing areas. And it is in this light that I think we should look at the price cuts and what is going on. I'm not too interested in doing the pure politics of it, because everything put together, Ghanaians took a decision December 7th, 2024, and decided that the NPP should go home and the NDC should come into power. We have a government that rode onto power by selling to cocoa farmers the idea and the promise that the previous government, led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was a wicked wicked government. And I'm quoting right from the current finance minister, Honorable Atufosin. And that His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo is a wicked man with a wicked government. And that they were supposed to pay the cocoa farmers between 6,500 to 7,000 cedis per bag. Because at that time, the world cocoa prices was around, I think, 3,000, 4,000. That is the campaign you took to them. And our cocoa farmers, of course, everybody wants what is good for them. If you've come to explain to them that the government that took cocoa prices, where we took over from 475, and at the time we were leaving office, it was 3,100, and somebody comes to tell you that they are wicked and that they should keep, they've kept your money, they should give you more, of course. So you got massive votes from the cocoa growing areas. You come into power. The first time, your promise of 6,000 didn't come. Let me just take the lower bar. The 6,000 didn't come. You decided to give them 100 cedis extra. They protested. Then you decided to move it to 3,600. And the sad thing is that these cocoa farmers were never paid the 3,600. Because when it was time to pay them, that was when their goods were not taken, or they were taken, they were not paid for. So this is the situation you find yourself. Let us also remind ourselves that when the NDC took over, the 1 year that they were in, from last year till now, we have not heard anywhere. None of them have come to tell us that there were issues in the cocoa sector and that the previous government had let debt and that because of the debt they couldn't pay. When they took over, at least they were able to pay the extra 100 cedis plus what the previous government was paying. So where did they get the money to pay? That's between January and November 2025. Where did they get the money to pay? In the meantime, they've been able to acquire vehicles. And when we asked them, they told us that it was from internally generated funds. What period was that money generated? And you think that at this time, when you haven't paid cocoa farmers, the right thing to do is to buy cars. That's another conversation we can come into it. But going forward, even if there's a problem, and there is a problem, management decision by Cocoa Board is why we are here. By March 2025, cocoa prices had increased to around $9,000, almost $10,000. Why didn't we sell our cocoa at that time? Why? I'll tell you one. When they took over, they changed the formula for selling cocoa. Usually, they have what they call the spot prices. So you decide, it's whole management decision. Are we selling our cocoa now with the prices how they're going? And if we're going to sell, what percentage? Usually I hear it's 30%, and then they keep the rest, or the 70%, whatever it is. There was a whole change in that system. So during the time that the cocoa prices were rising, they were busily either bickering or they hadn't taken a decision, and the prices rose, and we missed that window.
Okay.
By the time they decided to take a decision, the prices had fallen all the way back again. My question is it the fault of the cocoa farmer?
Right.
If, for whichever reason, management decision, world prices, why must the cocoa farmer suffer for it? When all other governments, including NDC one, under no circumstance did you ever vary the prices of cocoa to the disadvantage of the farmer. So even if things are bad, at least keep to the 3,100. And explain to them that perhaps we are still arranging things, we are still trying to put things in order. Let us pay you this 3,100, and next year, God willing, when things are in order, we would pay you. But to vary it to their disadvantage, where you've taken almost 1,100 Ghana cedis of their earnings, it is unfair. And we will not allow the government to come and tell us that the MPP people didn't do well. Because with all the things that we didn't do well, we paid them 3,100. And you that is supposed to know better came into office with the promise of paying them 6,000 that you haven't paid. Came into office with the promise of resetting. Came into office with the promise of a better Ghana. The poor cocoa farmer who is in Sehi, Bodi Wenchi is having to lose 1,100 Ghana cedis per bag of cocoa.
So
how fair is that?
You disagree that
I totally disagree.
The debt and the problems Cocoa Board is facing.
And the problem that they said. No, I don't even agree that it is true because they haven't brought us any audited accounts.
Okay.
So what they are saying, how sure am I that it is true? The previous administrators, through Fifi Buaf, I've heard him this whole week, are saying that it is not true. So they'll have to prove to us that that debt actually did exist when they took office. That they haven't done.
Okay.
So I don't believe them.
Right.
But the long and short of this whole matter is that we should not, under any circumstance, make the cocoa farmer the pay for our mistakes. Okay. At least you could have kept it at that level. But to vary it to their disadvantage, I think it is unfair. The government is just being incompetent, they are being mean, and it looks like they are the wicked ones. And not Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
Okay. Haja, the ball is in your court now.
You know my position already. I started when they were not here. Issues of national importance, of interest, we all have to take out our political spectacles and look at it in a very holistic manner.
Okay.
Because we went into a campaign and we saw all the messages that political parties give to people, especially cocoa farmers. Yesterday, when I heard about the reduction, do you know the one who came to mind? His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. In fact, I really pity him. Is it that his people are not telling him the truth picture? Because I saw a video of him, which means he was so confident. Per the advice maybe given by the ranking member on cocoa that time, that is the current agric minister.
Right.
That's why the president went on air to encourage people to even acquire more land because the cocoa sector is going to boom.
Booming.
Agric minister, why did you do that to the president? Because you could see that the candidate then was very confident. I'm not sure His Excellency was able to sleep yesterday because it will be going through his mind. Or if he's in Ethiopia, no matter what. You see, the issue is that.
He's having sleepless nights in
Ethiopia. Matiti, I always say that if we criticize maybe the sitting government or maybe speak in a way that is not in their favor, they shouldn't see us as enemies. Because that the eyes does not see itself, if not by the reflection of a different objects.
Okay.
They are closer to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. They have their positions. Maybe they cannot tell him in his face that maybe this is what is happening. But as for us, we are the mirror that will reflect the issues that is happening in the country. So when we speak, they should listen to us. After all, when Ghana is fine, we will all enjoy. Because I've not seen a queue for NPP, NDC, CPP, even though when you are in government, you have certain allowances or privileges that some of us don't have. But what happened yesterday, I was sad and I was surprised it was the finance minister who came to announce that because he gave assurance that they should be paying around 6,000. But I'm happy that the government spokesperson on this, I have alluded to the fact and has accepted that maybe somewhere there was no proper communication because you came and took over at least 1 year. You've made some payments. You even adjusted the prices of cocoa from 3,100. You added about 125, it's not 100, Helen. There was some coins on it. So what informed that decision of, I'm being fair, you know me.
I like the fact that you give us the fact as it is.
You see, yes, that is it. So you see, you increase the thing. Knowing all those problems, or maybe they didn't know the problems, or they knew the problems because they wanted to satisfy the cocoa farmers, which they couldn't because they promised 6,000 and they added 125 or 27 Ghana cedis, which is good because. But I will put the blame on the doorsteps of the management of the Cocoa Board. Because the president, because he has confidence in new people, that's why he appointed you. The president cannot be everywhere to see what is happening. So are we going to say that my own brother, my own friend that we used to sit at coffee shop mafia at the Laboni, Randy Abbey, did not know all this, and they were able to acquire vehicles, comfortable ones for themselves, how do you think the cocoa farmer will feel? He will say, no, there's money, because you said you bought those items from internal generated funds. So how did you generate it? So which means by...
the question also is if the Estwell government will...
I'm coming. Do you know why agencies, government institutions suffer when there's government takeover?
Okay.
Because they allow vehicles to be taken away or sold cheaply to the people who are going. We see situation whereby a Land Cruiser can be sold for 40,000. Meanwhile, the thing was bought for about 100 and something thousand. If it's your own money that you used to buy, will you price it at that? So there must be some policy, guidelines, in such a way that nobody will, maybe if there's a next government, the vehicles should be inspected, refurbished for people to, because if it is your own company, every 4 years, the chief executive will not buy a new car. But if it is a government institution, somebody will say, this person has sat on this chair. I can't sit because of this voodoo thinking. Me, if there's any chair in this country, I'll sit and I won't get stroke because I have a clear heart. If you don't do to others and they do it to you, it will not get to you. What is happening in the cocoa sector? Let's all accept that there's a failure on the part of the current management of Cocoa Board.
So you suggest there should have been an audit before even Dr. Randy Abe took that position.
Because let me tell you, and I'm being frank here. Maybe that is not his fault. That is not his fault. Because I'm telling you, when it comes to the cocoa industry, one must have some knowledge about farm. I don't know whether he even
He's surrounded by a lot of technical people.
I didn't hear Ake. I don't want to. I don't believe in speculations. Mr. Wool, do you know him? He campaigned for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama to be president, isn't it? He's even crying foul that what is happening at Cocoa Board, there is no cooperation between the chief executive and the technocrats there. Me and you were not there, so I don't know. Is it true? So if he cannot manage that sector, at least there are other places that he can be shifted to. So that, because the cocoa industry, whether we like it or that's the engine of Ghana economy, we cannot sit down for it to collapse. If the syndicated loans were abused, well, if people have taken some money that they are not supposed to take, I'm all for it for this forensic auditing. But don't criminalize it before investigation. Because if you say somebody should proceed on criminal, you have already drawn conclusion. Let the court decide whether there was some kululu or not kululu. Because we have a situation in this country, before a person is taken to court, it has gone viral. This person has tried, but when you go to court, I'm taking it from my own brother. Ayine, he said, Ora, there are reports somewhere, I don't want to repeat the word. Here. So let's be careful when we are doing, because after all, when the cocoa industry is booming, the Ghana economy is booming, everything is okay. My members of the Convention People's Party will also enjoy.
Okay.
So as for me, we should try and manage this situation very well. Because I was happy when there was even a cabinet emergency meeting to resolve this issue. It shouldn't be a knee-jerk kind of thing. We should look at it holistically. Where did it go wrong? If there are some people who will be found culpable in the previous administration, I am that will support it 100% because it's Ghana money.
Okay.
If they have taken some money, let's do proper investigations. If it warrants going to court to retrieve the money, we should do that.
I have 5 minutes to go, so let's do this. Yes, I have to share it among you ladies, but I'll go back to Rosemond again. Hajia has said the no knee-jerk approach. The calls for prosecution. We all know the justice system in this country, and however long the audits will be done before people are hauled to court and all of that.
Special court for that.
Okay. Are there going to be, ways of using a special court to expedite action on this? Because if you say you're waiting for that money, when?
Let me quickly say there's something was said on the table, and I want to just correct it. President John Mahama, the finance minister, we all echoed it that as at that time, the farmers should be paid about 6,000. If the dollar was still pegged at 15 cedis or 16 cedis, then it would have been correct today. And so we, contrary to what they are thinking, we've actually kept our promise. But because we've handled the dollar very well, there was no way we were going to get that figure.
But you had plans to handle the dollar very well at the time.
So I need to correct that. We spoke to the 6,000 because per the calculation of the 70% of the FOB, the SWAL government should have given them so much more than they were giving them.
6,000.
So that is why we needed to, I just needed to correct that. Yes. And now there's a need for a solution to the problem. As it stands now, the farmers we owe, the cocoa farmers we owe, there's a directive, we pay them. Now there's a haircut. I would say that what we have done, or we intend to do, to introduce the cocoa bill to Parliament, is something that is going to sanitize the system. No politician would have the audacity to politicize the cocoa industry again. Because once the cocoa bill is fixed and you are looking at the world market price, no politician can lie to you because it is going in tandem with what is happening with the world market. And so you can even follow through. And it's going to also save Cocoa Board from always trying to make up for the losses. Because once the bill is passed, then you, as a cocoa farmer, all stakeholders can follow through with what is happening.
Why do politicians campaign on the back of this? Because they know that there's no stability when it comes to the forex, isn't it? So if you say...
But for we not introducing the cocoa bill, what is going to happen is that it is going to be at the discretion of a politician based on what they think, based on
it's happening around them currently.
You understand? But once the cocoa bill is passed, if a flat rate, you can also assess the situation and nothing can be done about it. If it goes high, so for me, I think that saving or taking politics out of the cocoa sector is something that has been long overdue. And this is a call that even the farmers know that this is the right way to go, and they appreciate it. But of course, it is painful. It's going to, every decision you take comes at a cost. So the cost is for us to endure that the cocoa bill is passed, and now it just goes according to the global market, and so that is going to be there for
top of the reforms, the shake up Cocoa Board. Will it happen?
The roads. They gave road contract over $26 billion. Now we have moved the liabilities to the Road and Highways Ministry. So that is a government thinking outside the box.
Okay.
They gave out contracts like nobody's business. Gave road contracts. They were now doing performing the role of the Road Ministry. And it's very sad.
All right. And I ask again, administrative-wise, will there be a shake-up?
Of course, with the things the finance minister has outlined, resulting from the cabinet meeting, all these things, the pointers we brought out, is going to really shake up the cocoa sector. It's going to redefine the fortunes of the cocoa sector.
Including the people who are managing the cocoa sector. In as much as
people see, some people may view it as painful now. I think, like I already said, it's been long overdue, and this is what we always needed. So that we take the politics out of the sector that is so dear to our hearts and to our farmers.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Yes,
Ellen,
please.
I have 1 minute.
Go Hajia. It doesn't matter that's how you try to polish this issue. You can say all the flowery English. The crux of the matter is that the NDC government, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, has been mean and terrible to the cocoa farmers of Ghana. They raised up their hopes. They gave them promises. I mean, you had to take the president to stand on stage and tell people that go into cocoa farming. People actually got into it. And you bring their hopes down to this level. It's not a matter of trying to defend it. Let's reverse it. At least, if you cannot give them more, do not take away from what they were getting. It
it is going to affect lives. It's going to change destinies. This particular decision. And I think they should just be fair to the cocoa farmers.
You cannot, Helen, you're a politician. You agree that politicians make promises based on...
No, don't bring politicians in it.
Yes,
and the NDC made promises to the cocoa farmers. And try stating that the previous administration, led by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is a wicked man. Who is more wicked than you now?
Okay.
At least pay what Nana Addo paid.
Dollar was 16 cedis.
And what happened? When the dollar was 16,
yes, she says the ecosystem at the time determined
you knew it.
The promise.
You told all of us that you have been in power before. You have experience.
Okay.
You were supposed to know better.
Hajia.
It's as simple as that. You're a mean man. You're a wicked man.
By appealing to the government of the day.
Okay.
Maybe if there's
be some proper stakeholder consultations, especially with the farmers. Because looking at or hearing the outcry yesterday, which means maybe there was no consultation between the government and the cocoa farmers. That is why they were...
For the final pricing that was given.
Yes, okay. I think that should have been done. And then I want to take this opportunity to state here that the Convention People's Party, we respect every Ghanaian.
Okay.
And we know that every person, including me, has some kind of disability, because without my glasses, I cannot read or look at your face.
Okay.
So for somebody to use your platform to denigrate our former flag bearer, who has been 2 terms General Secretary, 2 terms flag bearer, that the CPP delegates took money and voted for somebody in a wheelchair. That person too has a disability, because, you know, if it's anything at all, if you don't have disability with your eyes, you have with your height. If there's something high there, you cannot take it. So the CPP, we've issued a statement, but GTV didn't read it. That is why I'm saying it.
Okay.
And then please, if somebody is on air, tell your people who are interviewing them, as soon as they say something that is not right, the GTV should just say that it is not part of their policy.
We always do.
No, but I watch it live on Sunday.
Okay.
After the Ayawasu elections, you invited one of our former aspirant, who said we took money and voted for Ivor Kobna Green Street. And the party has apologized to Ivor Kobna Green Street and the whole disability community.
Okay.
I wanted to...
Thank you, Hajia. That's the statement, I believe, on our screen right now.
You should have read it.
For immediate release. And as you can see, it's captioned, or the headline is Convention People's Party distances itself from the insensitive comments against people with disabilities. And that's it on your screen, Hajia. We definitely always do re-echo that we do not, associate with the comments made on our platform, the views of our panelists, are their personal views. It is not what reflects the stance of GBC.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hajia. Hamdatu Ibrahim is former chairperson, CPP. Rosemond Obeng is presidential staffer and speaks for the NDC. Elena Mateko is special aide to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, speaks for the NPP. Thank you, ladies. You do this again next week, I'm sure. Inshallah. Thank you. Have a good Friday. My costume is by Boatimes Collection. Find it everywhere. Yes, and happy Ramadan. Ramadan is coming. Yes.